hope to goodness we're live. I hope we are live with at Gay10D and what's your name? And at
PMT at Predem Trader.
Pred M Trader.
You should know. You call me Predem.
Tune in. Okay, I think we're live. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Gayton. Welcome, PMT. We're live back with Hive Mind, episode 7. You guys are two good guests. I want to keep having you on. Let's see if we can keep the positive vibes going. And I hope our
There, yeah.
mics work. I hope our mics work. I think they do.
That'll
Let's
be a
see.
big improvement from each stream. Is just going to get progressively better. Like one stream you'll have audio, one stream you'll have video.
One stream will start an hour and a half delayed.
Yeah.
We'll keep one technical issue going every single time. How about that?
It'll be like an Easter egg.
Yeah. Anyway, so this week, a couple stuff happened. The government shut down, according to Gayton, the Valentine's shutdown happened, depending on what site you look at. Predem, you think the government shut down? Maybe I don't think it shut down, depending on what platform we bet on. What else happened? Yeah, a lot of resolution discrepancies, whether you live on Planet P or Planet K. But hey, that's the way it goes, and we'll get into that pretty soon. Then we have music markets, which is it over, Gayton? Is the dream dead for Bad Bunny?
Probably dead. There was a lot of action the last 2 days, and all of it was bad news for me. So we'll get
All of
into
it
that.
was because you tweeted. You start tweeting about it, and the people come. They're
Yeah,
here for
but
you.
they're not supposed to come to take my money. They're supposed to come to give me theirs. So that kind of
Yeah,
backfired
exactly.
this time.
And then, well, did you end? Okay, we'll get into it. But I know you had what 20,000 shares or something at 30 cents, right? So I don't know if you got
Yeah.
out of it, but and then Fed Chair Judy Shelton is apparently the key to generational wealth. Do I have the facts straight, or is
I
that
did some
what's happening here?
investigations this week there. I've learned a lot about the mind of a Judy Shelton yes holder.
Okay, then we will get into that. So why don't we start with the government who maybe shut down and maybe didn't shut down. So last week, Gayton, market was at what, 70%. You said there aren't many avenues left for Congress to explore to keep the government or DHS, because it was just that one group funded, and it came true, depending on who you ask. But there was problems in the prediction markets. So do you followed the resolution process for both, and do you have opinions on it?
Yeah, I followed it, and so just a quick overview. What happened was the guy in charge. So they use different resolution sources, and Kalshi has really gone out of their way to make these things cuck proof. So like if everybody's saying the government is shut down, Kalshi wants to pay that the government has shut down. Polymarket's taken a different approach, and they've based it off of a single website by the Office of Personnel and Management. And what happened was both Shutdown, yes, was a huge favorite on both sites. And then somebody on Twitter asked the guy in charge of OPM about updating the website. And he said, well, I wouldn't want to be on that bet. We're not going to update it. And the price just plunged, and it never recovered. It ended up, they did not update the website. So even though you wake up and you read all the newspaper headlines saying that DHS is shut down for the sake of Poly's resolution, that wasn't the case. It paid out as no shutdown. Kalshi, so there was still a little bit of drama on the Kalshi side of things, because even though they've tried to make the rules as robust as possible, there was always the possibility for such a small shutdown that just impacts DHS, and they don't have that many workers working over the weekend, so there was a little bit of fear that they might just not shut down. So that kept the prices a little bit elevated. But then the Office of Management and Budget issued a memo on Friday saying they were shutting down, and then it went to 99 and stayed there. There wasn't even like a lot of dummy bonds to be had. It never really shifted from 99 after that memo was published.
Yeah, I'll
You
pull
could
up the tweet
still
here.
get filled at 99 though on that memo. It was crazy. I think it did like 12 million more volume at 99, but from the memo to, I know people that were just full porting, getting in line at 99. One thing to call out that I think is crazy is we did talk about it last week when we were on here about the opportunities cross-platform when there's slightly differing resolutions. And it's crazy to see that the exact thing happened again. Because in that instance, right, you could argue Kalshi had much more favorable resolution to go yes, obviously, because they're a lot more. So like when they were trading close to each other, I mean, it's like definitely was an opportunity. I guess there was a potential for like a reverse middle with the because Kalshi I think had a earlier time for when OPM had to be updated, but still.
Well, there was that, but also I mean, we remember I think Squee had tweeted out. I can pull up the Squee tweet as well that the meme of him, the Michael Scott handshake, like he wasn't expecting to get the double win. Yeah, there it is. When you arbitrage Kalshi, yes. With Polymarket, no, and win both sides and don't understand why. So for him, the double win made sense, and maybe that means that on top of just maybe favorable resolution criteria or strike timing, you also had a case where the price on Kalshi was lower than Polymarket for yes. So you could buy no Polymarket and yes Kalshi, and you would get paid out double, not expecting it. So the worst that could have happened was get the 2 cent arb, and the best was 198 cents. You know, it's nice to get $2 for one. You know, same thing with the Cardi B too, right? So
just as a broader issue, like I don't like when this happens. I don't like when you read the title and it's clearly one answer and then the market ends up paying the other way. Like I get that that's how they have to do it because of the rules, but just make the rules match whatever the title is so that new traders that come in and might have an interest don't end up losing their money in a real feels bad situation.
Yeah, I mean, the issue there after that on Polymarket, there was even more mess because on top of not resolving to reality on the main market, which if I could find, I would like to find, but there was also the problems where they had a market on how long will the shutdown last, and they changed the rules there because those rules could resolve on credible consensus of information, whereas the main market couldn't. But they did a clarification to that second market, which could have resolved on credible information to say, actually, we're going to stick with that, and it's not going to resolve to credible information like Kalshi would have, right? So they doubled down on the bad original rule set and actually hurt the market even more, right? So I think, is it this one? No, it wasn't. But yeah, so these markets were not built well, and reality wasn't reflected, right? So, and reality, go ahead.
But Kalshi, they've reworked the rules, and I think it's going to be very hard to have it resolve in a way that isn't expected. Almost impossible for it to resolve counter to what reality is saying.
Yeah. But I mean, still, in terms of reality, I know PMT, I've been talking about reality a lot, right? Where who resolves to reality and when? Did Bernie Sanders say words? Did the announcer mention market from yesterday?
Bernie.
Did they say words? Right? So which words count and which words don't, right? So, and which shutdowns count, which ones don't? Oh man.
Yeah, and I think mention markets are uniquely a market that especially has like these types of disputes where it's just really hard to encapsulate everything in the rules. I mean, I think you brought up the Bernie market last week. And I know even Gayton, you were messaging me about this, saying one of your friends had bought shares in a Gayton market. So, you know, everybody obviously wants, to Gayton's point, like the titles to match, especially as you have more kind of new recreational flow coming into these. Like you never want them to feel scammed, obviously. I think it's very difficult in mentions. For the Bernie one, for those that don't have context, Bernie was scheduled to give a rally, and it ended up being kind of closed press where they weren't publicly streaming his rally, and all the strikes basically got sort of bonded to no, but then people tried to reverse it by finding someone on TikTok had live streamed the event as a guest, So then yes shares started climbing because people could see the independent person who TikTok lived the event, what Bernie had said. And the argument for yes holders was that in the full rules, Bernie Sanders is a resolution source as like a source agency. But in the end, they ended up resolving all strikes to no. I think they got the resolution right. Like I think 100% it had to go no. I didn't have a position in this also. And I know that resolving no also is kind of resolving in favor of like the sharps for mentions, which, you know, because they're the ones bonding no. So I know a lot of times people are going to want stuff like that to go yes. But it's difficult. And I mean, to me, the flaw and the rationale of it going yes is that although Bernie is a source agency, things like that are more so included because politicians will stream events from their actual accounts. So like when they say Bernie was a source agency, my interpretation is that if Bernie actually streams it on his account, but you can obviously understand why people would, you know, misconstrue it. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult to kind of add these types of things. And obviously in the Bernie example, if they had gone yes, it would create really bad precedent because if you have, say, a closed press Trump meeting and somehow somebody's allowed to attend and then film stuff, they know the strikes ahead of time, things get bonded, no, they start accumulating cheap yes shares. You know, it gets to the point where like you would have to leave mention markets open for days because what if somebody comes out with some video that wasn't actually publicly streamed?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult too because you know, like there are so many events, these closed press things. This sounds like such a big deal for Bernie, but this happens all the time on Trump events because he'll have things that are open press that go closed. He'll have things that are closed press that go open. So it's a difficult issue to solve. And I know they are rolling out a much more in-depth kind of contract for mentions, which I think is a really good thing.
How many
More as it
pages?
relates.
How many pages are we up to now?
It's like I think it's like 16 or 17 pages last time I looked at it.
Oh, brother.
But it's more so focused on like the words in terms of what counts, which is where a lot of issues come up, which I'm super in favor of it. I know a lot of people aren't. But I personally love the idea of prediction markets platforms getting really serious with rules. Because I think, you know, at the end of the day, like when Domer, for example, talks about his kind of end vision of these like truly becoming like really big financial products that like actual firms would, you know, use to hedge risk or whatever, right? Like you cannot have uncertainty in how a contract resolves. And in its current state, there is still so much uncertainty. And obviously users like us that have been on PMs for years, like we can tolerate it because we're kind of usually in the know of like the uncertainties, you know, what's happening with, but obviously you don't want a recreational user to feel cheated. So
yeah, I mean, Gaten, in the idea of becoming a hedging instrument for big institutions, what would happen if there was $100 million of volume and so much there was some firm invested in hedging the shutdown outcome, and then this happens on Polymarket? Would Polymarket have changed the rules and allowed the shutdown to occur? Because how could you have a hedging instrument if that's how these markets are going to resolve and they don't resolve on reality? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Understand
Well, in that case,
what I'm saying?
I'd hope that an investor like that is sophisticated enough to foresee the potential issue of a website update. But yeah, that's definitely a barrier to this being a serious financial instrument if it's just so, like, if you're measuring stuff that doesn't really matter.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have seen some of the clips of like big options trading like funds that like blow up because like something crazy happens to the options world. There's like a legendary one where the fund manager comes out on video and says like, we blew up. I dream of a world in 10 years where there's some fund for prediction markets and they come on camera saying we did not foresee a website update.
Yeah.
So all your funds are
I know, what a way. Back in November, or was it October, November, where the website didn't update until 4 a.m. and the Polymarket guys got screwed and the Kalshi guys woke up at 10 a.m. and they were fine. And then same thing here, right? So this one was, I mean, also tweeting at people to get stuff resolved when they're the main like resolution source payout criteria. Do we like that or not? Do we like tweeting at
No.
Scott Kapur
I
and
I
asking him
don't
to
like
update
it,
it?
but what I will say is, of all the things you could do, at least they're doing it on a public forum, right? Like to me, that's way less sketchy than someone finding a way to message a congressman or someone through a private channel. And you could argue
Mhm.
that's not insider information, right? Because they're just messaging. But like at least in this instance, it is public. I don't think it's a good thing, but at least it's public. Is the only thing I'd say.
Gaten, what do you think? Not
I
good?
don't like the more visibility this stuff has to the people that actually can influence it. I think the greater the risk of them just screwing around with it are.
Mhm.
Like somebody like Scott Kapoor or whatever his name is that leads OPM. I'm not too worried about him messing around. But like who was it, Coinbase, that read off all the
Brian
mention words
Armstrong.
at the end
Yeah.
of it. I think you introduce that type of risk where people are aware that people that like millions of dollars potentially hang in the balance depending on their trivial decisions, and that might influence them one way or another.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, back before I joined prediction markets, but Domer, one of his stories when he goes on these podcasts is that he called Congress offices to ask if, or was it Lancer or Domer, like, will they be voting today? Like, are they in office? Do you remember those kinds of stories? Those are not really directly asking for the purpose of the betting market, but I guess that's a bit better than what people are doing here, or is it a bit related?
No, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past, but then I'll call like, Mississippi, and I've got my Midwestern accent, and they're like, are you from here? I'm like, oh yeah, recent transfer. But that's just a
Yeah.
way of gathering information, and those offices are set up to provide that information or to gather feedback from
Mhm.
constituents. And in fact, one time I did that. It was the Secretary of Education. This was back in like 2021 when Biden just came on. And I had like the perfect whip count because I called all of the borderline senators to get their opinion, and I had this nailed. And then the vote happened, and I had the bracket picked out perfectly. It was going perfectly fine. But then one of the senators, Jerry Moran from Kansas, just didn't vote. Like he was there and he just didn't vote, and it blew up my entire play. So even though I had like perfect information, the guy just didn't vote for whatever reason,
Wow.
and then he voted in the very next vote. So it's like even getting that information, you're still not completely protected from a loss.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Go
I,
ahead.
I mean, I just think overall, whenever you break the fourth wall, it's not a good thing. Just because just anytime like a prediction market becomes a vehicle to where it could possibly influence the actual outcome of something, like that's, you know,
Yeah. I mean, I was saying last week, these people shouldn't know that we exist. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want them, I don't want them anywhere close to me. I don't want to talk to them. I just want to bet on what I think they're going to do. I want to analyze the what Taylor Swift does. She want to get 4 million album sales when she drops the album? Is that what her psychology is? I don't want to call her people and be like, hey, is there going to be a new variant coming out tomorrow? I don't really care to do that. I want to just
Mm-hmm.
analyze the situation publicly. I don't know. I'm just how I'm like. I don't want to tell her, hey, could you please release a 50th variant to Opalite so that you can go number one this week, please? Like, no, that's not in my repertoire for sure. Anyways, prediction markets are also in the news today, as every day, because of the CFTC chair's comments. This was what, 2 3 hours ago, and he was just on Fox Business. Let me pull this up, and you guys can't hear it, but you know what he was saying. We'll see you in court was the end of the line. I'll just play the end here so people can hear.
Reserve. To those who seek to challenge our authority in this space, let me be clear. We will see you in court.
Let me be clear. We'll see you in court. So that was, I don't know, a pretty powerful statement. I know that people in my Polymarket circles were victory lapping and being like, "Oh, we're good, we're good." if Poly
Yeah.
US could put up some politics markets, then everything would be fine. But at least the back end, the CFTC is backing it with a friend of the court briefing, something like that. Do you guys know much about it? What's going on?
Yeah, so basically it's historically sports betting has been, we'll say primarily sports betting has been handled at the state level. Regulation has been handled at the state level. And what Kalshi has come along and said is that no, these are financial contracts that have to be regulated at the federal level. And that's caused a lot of tension because the states have had so much control and now they don't. And along with that control comes state tax revenue. It comes revenue for companies like DraftKings and FanDuel, who have spent a lot of time wading through the regulatory obstacles that they've had to deal with. And then there's the tribal casinos as well that lose out on money. So there's all this money at stake, and most of the, like, Kalshi is like the only stakeholder, Kalshi and Polymarket, they're saying no, let's make this a federal thing, and federal overrides states, so states can't even regulate this if they want to. So the CFTC coming out and saying, yeah, we're going to go to the mat over this, it's a strong signal that, like, the states, they've got an uphill battle to bring regulation back into their camp. So from a profitable trader perspective, this is great news because it means that we're probably going to be able to do this throughout at least the Trump administration. From a societal standpoint, like, you know, it kind of means that even if states think that the Fed isn't doing enough to regulate these things, they're just out of luck.
Yep. Well, so on I don't know if you saw the Fox Business thing. This was maybe half an hour ago. Nope, it was 2 hours ago as well. He said he just retweeted it an hour ago, but he was saying that the event contracts are hedging instruments, and that's one of the primary purposes of it, and it's federally regulated. That's why. But I'm starting to think like, okay, yes, they're hedging instruments, and that's the argument we're going down now. But we still have the problem. The state's problem is not event contracts and it being federally regulated. It's that they're using sports betting as a guise to get to these non-sports betting states, right? And there's still no one with an argument on why we should be allowing player props and combos and all of this as a federally regulated product. These are not hedging instruments anymore, right? Hedging instrument is Shutdown. Hedging instrument is mention markets. I'll give that one to you, PMT. I could give.
Hey, I will defend mention markets. I'm ready for it.
All of the politics markets, music charts. I like those as hedging instruments. I don't like player props. That's what I'm against. As an argument, you know.
I think it's all largely disingenuous because it's like in theory, these things can be hedged, but like, how many Spotify market players are actually hedging against the sales of Taylor Swift's albums? It's just people like me that are having fun and trying to make money doing it. Like, the fact that in theory it could be used as a hedge, I don't know if that holds up in court if 99% of the markets aren't being used like that.
Yeah, I mean, my argument is like, even if you're someone who would take the argument that this is all just speculative gambling, right, of people using these things, is I think at the end of the day, even offering sports contracts. So this is outside of me saying whether or not, you know, primary used as a hedge, because obviously that's, you know, but you know, I just think the prediction market model has the ability to inevitably be better for consumers in the sense of, like, you know, obviously, if you look at sports books right now with, you know, the VIG they're charging and things like that, and like the, you know, VIP kind of, and I will caveat this because I know a counter to this is going to be like, well, Kalshi's charging high fees to where the prices are going to look like sports books sometimes for ticket, but I think long term, especially as you have like new prediction markets entering the space, you know, for fees, they're going to naturally end up probably coming down. I mean, you kind of see the same thing with like commission or for other like brokers, right? Where like once the first one started lowering fees or going fee-free trades, kind of they all followed. So I just think the prediction markets have this end goal potential to be better for consumers, and these in the sense of getting much better prices. And then also I do think there is truth in the idea of having a different incentive of like, it's really hard to trust, all these sports betting people, right, that are from sports books, right, that are obviously not in favor of this, are saying like, oh, they're not going to be protected, whatnot, which is kind of implying that like sports books have ever taken things like
Are
responsible
protecting
gambling
people.
seriously. Yeah. So I think the incentives of like, I think there is a net positive in the end of having this incentive structure to where like a prediction market, truly doesn't care if you win or lose. So like, versus trying to entrust a sports book to truly honor responsible gambling when they have these VIP things, when obviously they want you to bet and they're the house. Like, so yeah, I guess my argument would just be that like, even if you're someone who says like, doesn't buy the argument of them being used as hedging contracts long term, I do think they have the potential, even with sports, to just be net better for consumers at the end of the day, in the sense of just having better prices and having a market where they're not incentivized to just have everybody lose, I guess.
No, I'm with you there.
That's a legitimate argument. And that's kind of what, and I think the argument for allowing all of this stuff, even though it might on net be negative, is it's just like the libertarian argument. Like, people have the freedom to do whatever the hell they want as long as it's not hurting other people. Why would this be any different? Like, is this worse than alcohol or marijuana or cigarettes or any of those things that we allow people to use that harm themselves or potentially can be used? So I think there's good arguments for prediction markets. I just don't think that saying that they're necessary as a hedge when the vast majority aren't used as that is a very valid one.
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder as well, like where we are in the stage of prediction markets, because the other part of it is like, obviously you look at like options or things like that. There are a lot of people not using options as like a actual, they're buying one-day expiration calls or puts on stocks, things like that. And I kind of always view prediction markets to be like, we're in the stage where like, they have to build products that people want to use. So it's like having these like speculative kind of fun markets is like a natural part of it as they try to get more volume, more liquidity. So I do wonder if there is a cycle to where like truly in the next few years, like it does expand to having these other markets do like a lot. Cause I feel like once you grow the pie enough to where like you're encompassing sports and maybe you are taking away from like sports books, things like that, like in terms of users, volume, liquidity, like the next unlock is obviously going to be like getting truly like institutional capital on these platforms, in which case they would have to evolve to offering better markets. But it remains to be seen, like them adding, really interesting markets that you maybe can't better hedge somewhere else, right? Like no one's gonna right now buy a market on the price of a stock on a prediction market when they can just buy a call option with significantly more available liquidity,
And part of that is resolution criteria, part of that is availability. So there's all these different factors that are currently like headwinds, right? And the tailwinds are us. We're the ones pumping up prediction market super cycle, which I think Gayton tweeted for the first time since he said he would mute those words.
Did you tweet that?
From existence?
I have to repost it if you did. I didn't see it.
He was like a reply to Ben Fried. I love talking about the Twitter world for prediction markets, but I think you did say the words a couple days ago if we had a mention market for it.
Yeah, I got it up. So the one where I said you don't see many bullish on prediction market tweets anymore. It's not because people are no longer bullish on them, but rather the crypto people have figured out that saying you're bullish on PMs doesn't actually do anything. They aren't worthless meme coins to unload. That one?
Yep. Yeah, that one. And I think Benjamin was like, I thought you said you would never say the word bullish in prediction markets ever. Or you would quote, you had tweeted something like, "Oh, I could have a losing year and still be happy as long as no one says bullish anymore." But
You
anyways,
you say posting doesn't help, and now Judy Shelton's at 5%
well, that's what I want to
from the
talk about.
crypto people.
We want to protect people. How much do we need to protect them from generational wealth? Sorry, like Judy Shelton. It's no, we don't have to protect them. We have to be protected because we're on the other side of that. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Judy Shelton. Is it the key to generational wealth, PMT? You did some research this week. What did you find out?
Yeah, I did some heavy hitting investigative journalism this week, trying to understand. I had no position on the Judy Shelton Fed thing, and I was trying to understand how could someone go up in value after the Warsh announcement, because I think Judy was 2% like a few days before the Warsh announcement.
Yep.
And I identified a relationship between a cryptocurrency known as XRP Ripple. And the Judy Shelton bull case is that she will ascend as a phoenix. She had a phoenix pin on her shirt like 4 years ago in an interview. This is real, and that is a big thing that's being pointed to as well, signifying that she may ascend as a phoenix. And people have pointed out that apparently Kevin Warsh was named in some Epstein document as well. So they're trying to argue that could
That's
do
powerful.
something. But yeah, I am not bullish on Judy Shelton. I have entered a decent Judy Shelton no position. But she just keeps pumping. So
Yep. I can't explain it, or maybe we can. I mean, the longer this drags out, and we can talk about timing in a sec because there are markets on it, but the longer this drags out, the more, I guess, ambiguity comes in, and then you start to doubt yourself, right? So I remember, well, not that this has any effect on the situation, but when I first started trading on Polymarket, there was a guy named Kickstand, which is now Lance's name on Poly. But this guy his name was Kickstand, and he would always bet on Trump to be president during Biden's presidency. So by the end of the month, by the end of next month, by January 7th, 2022, by July the 4th, every big date that Polymarket would put up, he would be betting like hundreds of thousands of dollars and losing close to $1 million, even more, trading on Trump to be the president when he had no chance. So I had DM'd him. I said, okay, what's happening here? Like, why are you doing this? And he told me his theory, other than, quote, Trump will come riding in on the QAnon unicorn. All right. That was one of his thesis. His second thesis was, okay, Biden out, Kamala out, Nancy Pelosi out, and Trump gets Speaker of the House. And that's how he's going to become president. Three things need to happen, and Trump needs to get nominated. But that was the path that he saw, and he was trading it at, that's the path he told me about. And he was trading it at such high numbers that made no sense. So the APR of Jesus' return was lower than the APR of Trump to not be president. And obviously, it didn't happen. I think one of the other theories was once the courts decide that Trump is the president, he's going to have a great lawsuit against Polymarket and say, hey, I want to be paid out for all of my shares because he was actually the president. I think that was the third thesis, but that was a story from when I first started of these people betting things that are not going to happen. So I don't know how much that's related to here with Judy Shelton, but Gaten, are you on the train of all your money's locked up?
Yeah, it kind of sucks too because it's taking a lot longer to pay out than I had hoped. So it's nice in that I'm getting a little bit of a break from day-to-day trading, but it's a lost opportunity. And I think this might be related to the whole bullish on prediction markets thing, in that people that do that type of pumping have learned that saying that you're bullish on Kalshi or bullish on prediction markets doesn't actually do something. But if you can get a Judy Shelton yes share at 2 cents and suddenly become bullish on her and sell it for 5 or 6 cents later on, that's a much better use of your time than pumping up these platforms. So while I think there's a lot of true believers out there, I think there's a lot of people that are just making short-term plays to flip these shares. And if you can pull it off, more power to you.
Yeah, someone in the comments, and
Yeah,
by the way, if anyone's watching, you can comment. But someone said, I'm trying out a new trading strategy where I give myself AI psychosis to anticipate moves like Judy Shelton before they happen and get 5x returns. So I think part of the strategy is locking up your money, but maybe swing trading these.
that's
I don't know. It's
bullish.
not really picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. I think it's like kind of the opposite, but trying to swing trade until the music stops, and until this nomination eventually comes, you want to try to swing trade this. But I'm just not confident in my ability to swing trade these shares and not be caught out.
Yeah, I mean, as much as people may joke about Judy Shelton yes holders, most of them have an unrealized gain right now, while all the
Yeah.
Judy Shelton no holders are sitting on an unrealized loss. But you brought up on the person who's buying Trump every day that he brought in QAnon somewhere along the line. I have talked to some Ripple holders trying to get some of them on stream, and QAnon was brought up in 2 instances as part of this. And, maybe we didn't have, like, you could look at that Trump presidency buyer and think he's just crazy, but how big was the sample size? Maybe this was really a 60-40 and you got the 40 end on Trump not coming in. No, but I mean, the last thing I would say on this is it's hard to look at the market and see just how much open interest there is of, like, at 96, for example. I think there was, like, you could buy like 700K shares, just market buy the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, we can start
And
to look at
talking
these
to
order
them,
books. They're
yeah,
crazy.
they had large orders. They were
Let's
sending me their
pull it up.
slips. They would have like 250K shares of Judy Shelton. Yes, some of these people.
Yeah.
So I was surprised.
7
And
million shares queued up at 95, a million queued up to buy at 4, and another million at 3. I mean, this is crazy. It's just wild. Yeah, go ahead, Gaten.
one of my friends, so we were all on Discord when Warsh was announced as the guy, right? And so everybody was just loading up on Warsh yes or everybody else no. But the real big brain play was one of my friends that goes by Tangent. He got like 300,000 shares of no or yes on Shelton at like a penny.
Yep.
So he just went absolute big brain play, just went absolute nuts. And then he could quintuple or sextuple his money just by holding on to those shares. And it's a risky play. Like, they could have submitted him right away, but the price actually bounced back within a very short period of time. So it's not like, so I don't know how much he might have thrown $30,000 on this play
Yeah.
and tripled his money within minutes.
Well, there's a couple things here. One is that copy pasta that I've posted a couple times now. When you see whales buying at 99.9 and risky 99,000 to win 100, it doesn't mean that they're smart. They're actually very dumb. Who risks 9,099 to win one when you could buy the point one side? They won't be whales for much longer. That's the meme. And it's kind of the same thing happening here. Yeah, on Polymarket, it went to 99.9 Warish or 99.8. And then within a couple hours, it started to get beaten back down. But I think when you're in the moment there, what was the expectation for formal submission? Did we expect it to be the next day? Did Tangent expect it to drag on for 2.5 weeks now?
I think best case scenario, it would have been like the Monday or Tuesday. So we had retrading days at a minimum for him to recover that money, and he didn't need anything close to that to make a huge profit.
Well, exactly 3 days. I mean, we talk about risk-free rate on PMs. I argued about that before, but if it's 3 days, then you could be like 0.1% a day. So if there's 3 days in best case scenario, the max he should be trading at is 99.6, 99.7, right? And now that it's gone this long, and you're thinking, okay, we can look at the market for when will the formal submission come through? When will Warsh? There we go. When will Warsh Fed chair nomination be received? Before March is trading at below 50 cents. So you look at that and you're like, okay, 13 days, that's 1.5 cents of risk-free prediction market rate, according to me. My risk-free rate is 0.1 cents a day, under 50% for before March. So that's maybe 3.5 cents is the fair market value. Therefore, the current price of Warsh and Shelton is correct. Like, it's not worth 99, it's actually worth 97. Do you think that's a fair way to look at it? Because that's how I see it right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to consider the cost of locking up that capital, and that's what I'm dealing with now. I've got like $160,000 that's just unavailable for use.
Yep.
And I could have probably cycled that in 99-cent shares multiple times in the time that it's taking to get this paid out. So even though like the event risk itself, like the odds of them pulling Warsh and putting Shelton in is very close to zero. But that doesn't mean that it's a good buy at any price.
Exactly. Foster says Trump did say he was going to wait till Tillis was out before submitting. People didn't believe it, though, it seemed. So yeah, let's talk about timing. PMT, I don't know how much you know about formal submission timing. Gayton, maybe you're more in tune with it. I'm just saying,
I'll be useless
not
here.
a diss, but yeah, we could sit back here. Gayton, what is your new stance, if anything's changed, on when the submission will actually come through?
Like I don't have a good feel for that. The Secretary of Treasury on Friday said that they had reached a deal with Tillis. Like the issue is that Tom Tillis, the Republican senator from North Carolina, has said that he won't confirm anybody to the Fed chair or any Fed governor at all until they drop the investigation of Powell. And that doesn't, like, they can still nominate him, though. It doesn't stop them from moving the process forward. It just stops him from getting confirmed. And that's the last committee step is moving him from the committee to the Senate floor. So there's a roadblock on that step. That step isn't going to happen until Tillis has his demands met. But that doesn't mean all this.
The confirmation is the real barrier. Is that what you're saying?
Getting him out of the committee. So the nomination goes to the committee. The committee does their research, does their due diligence on making sure that he's a good candidate, and then they forward him to the Senate for the final confirmation vote. But Tillis can stop that from happening, basically. But that doesn't mean that they can't do the legwork before that vote. So Tillis can't stop Trump from submitting the nomination.
And that's what the market resolves on.
Correct.
Just the submission. So there's two markets here. When will Warsh Fed chair nomination be received by the Senate? That's, I guess, what's going to resolve the main market, right? So this is the
that could happen today. That could happen. There's a pro forma session today. And during pro forma sessions, they don't conduct any business, but they can receive nominations. And they won't say, they won't gavel in and say, Donald Trump has forwarded us this nomination. They won't do that. You'll hear it reported or see it in the digest, but they're not going to read it out loud saying that this thing happened. So if it happens today during the pro forma session, we probably won't know right away unless a reporter is on top of it. So in theory, it could happen today. It could happen I think they have another one on Thursday. More likely it happens when the Senate's actually in session, which will happen again on Monday. But who knows? Maybe they wait until they've got the Tillis thing straightened out. They do have time, since Powell doesn't step down until May, so it's not like there's a huge rush for anything except for my bank account, I guess. My bankroll.
We can start tweeting at them to get it done, like we were talking about. So I mean, the market for March is 47%, March 13th, 76, and before April, 91. Do you have any positions on here, or are you really out of cash?
I'm not playing timing. I'm too broke.
Yeah, exactly. And then confirmation, May is below 50, so I guess that's this Tillis barrier. June 80, July 80.
They can, Trump can give in on that and move it from a Department of Justice investigation to a Senate committee investigation, which basically means nothing's going to happen to Powell. And I think that he basically has to do that, or has to drop the investigation entirely before Tillis will give in. I don't. Tillis is this is his last year in the Senate, so he's got zero fucks to give anymore. So
We should
he'll
wait till the end of the
probably,
year. Why not just wait till after midterms?
yeah, don't do that. I think he'll want him in as soon as possible so that they can start cutting interest rates at every meeting.
Yeah. One thing that with Ivan, when I first started doing these streams, we would talk about what's it called? The Hive Five, where we guess what price something's going to trade at next week. Do you want to guess what price Shelton is next week?
I don't
Which
think
one
he'll
number
move
is
far
for
from
today?
95.
It won't get below
Um,
95 to you.
I
no,
don't think it'll get below 95 either. I don't think that wall will ever get broken, the 95 7 mil wall.
Does it
I
go
feel like
up?
95
Is there
too is
any
such a mental thing where people, you know,
5%
like that.
is a good enough is a good amount?
Yeah, to where people are like, oh, I will click 95. Like, you know, because it's
Sure.
like, that's like, if you can get a bond 95, that's a great price.
Now, so it's going to stay 95, 96. Does it go up to 97, 98, or will it be here next week this time we stream again? What's the price?
so one
Could resolve
factor to
too.
consider is that a ton of people, myself included, have a whole bunch of money on the no federal spending cuts in 2025 market. That's going to resolve on Friday. So we're going to see a flood of bond money potentially looking for new bonds. So it might drive it up to 96 or 97.
Was this the ACA subsidy thing, or was this something
No,
else?
no. This is back when Elon Musk was part of the
Ah,
administration and Doge, and he was waving his chainsaw around and all that stuff. There was
yep,
like a 3-week period where people thought that the government was actually going to cut spending for the entire year. That
yep.
that ship has long since sailed. Um, but because of the shutdown, this data that was supposed to be released on January 29th has been delayed till February 20th. So there's a lot of money locked up in there. I think
Yeah, I
I've
see
got
it.
like 90,000 waiting payment there.
Yeah.
Um, so that could, it seems weird to say that would impact the Judy Shelton market, but I think it
It
will.
always does. Whenever there's the suit drama on Polymarket or any UMA dispute, you'll see all of the other bonds go down while everyone floods money into whatever dispute is going on at the time.
That's,
It's really
but that's
crazy.
why I was surprised that after Super Bowl, Judy Shelton didn't like go down to like 97, 98. I thought right after
Did
Super
people
Bowl, you'd see
care?
a flood of cash.
Do people have money locked up in Super Bowl?
People had a lot of money on like Anthropic No, on at
Oh
least in
yeah,
my
yeah.
group of
No,
people, like a lot of
the ad stuff.
you had Anthropic No, you had like you could buy Trump No to attend at like 97 for like
Yeah.
100K. Like there are just so many bonds that were like one day resolving. So I thought after Super Bowl, a lot of people would move money to Judy Shelton No.
Yeah.
And there's
Um,
1.7 million in open interest just on one bracket. So
of your thing for spending cut?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
wow.
we're looking at, looks like about probably $4 million.
All
Yeah,
right.
4 million
That's
bucks
exciting.
will be looking
Uh,
for a home.
our Zach says me and a lot of other people did the opposite, pushing Judy Price up to get cash for the Super Bowl. So they're trying to liquidate you guys. They liquidate us. But I'll stay strong. I'm staying strong. No worries. Until the XRP holders win, uh, I ain't hear no bell, you know. So we'll be fine. What's a prediction market that the bell did ring is Bad Bunny, Bruno Mars. So Gayton, I know that's the one you were talking about on Twitter this week. Tell us about what happened there.
Yeah, so this has not gone well for me. So what happened was I was initially on Bad Bunny No because the gap was so large between Bruno and Bad Bunny. And I looked at Kendrick Lamar's performance last year, like what happened to his number of listeners. Um, but I did like have the understanding that Bad Bunny, because of the difference in audiences, is like when Kendrick Lamar did the Super Bowl, he was performing for US audience. That is his primary audience anyway. When Bad Bunny does that, the US isn't Bad Bunny's primary audience. So a lot of people were seeing him for the first time. So they might have listened, whereas before they didn't, to a level that Kendrick Lamar didn't see. So I knew that there was this risk that Bad Bunny would come in a lot higher than Kendrick did. And that's what ended up happening. His listener numbers went up by a lot more than Kendrick. And at the same time, Bruno Mars released his single on January 9th. And that shot up his listeners from about 114 million to about 135 million. So that was a huge jump. And you would expect that to drop a lot after 28 days, because this market's based on a rolling calendar of 28 days. So tomorrow is Wednesday. So it means that the Wednesday 4 weeks ago is going to drop out once the new Wednesday numbers are announced. So the point of all that is that you would expect Bruno to drop a lot, because as the hype of the single wears off and people stop listening to him, his numbers should drop dramatically. And we started to see that. So he lost 270,000 listeners. I think it was at the 11th. He lost 455,000 on the 12th. He lost 560,000 the 13th. And then 847,000 the 14th. So those are the dates that the days are updated though. So he was, not only was he losing a ton, but every day it was going up by more.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing that, and I update my projections according to that. And I thought, wow, this is Bad Bunny's, not only is he a favorite, he should be a fairly heavy favorite at that point. So that's when I bought this 20,000 shares, and I got them at a good price. It was like 25 cents. But then things stopped going well for me. Bad Bunny's numbers continued to do well, but for whatever reason, Bruno Mars the bleeding just stopped. So after losing 850,000 that one day, the next day, which represents the tracking window for part of Valentine's Day, he only dropped 284,000. And then the next day he dropped 438,000. So he dropped a lot less than he was dropping the days before. So like my last bastion of hope was thinking that, okay, this is just Valentine's Day and all the guys are trying to get laid, so they're putting on some Bruno, getting the girls in the mood. Yeah, a little Die with a Smile, little
Locked Out of Heaven.
Yeah, there's so many, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, maybe that's what's happening. So my last hope was this morning when they did the updates, and it came in at 345,000, which is not nearly enough to close the gap. And I think what's happening here is, like, if Spotify was 100% organic, it would be way easier, but it's not. There's a couple of ways that artists can influence how much their stuff is being played to listeners who aren't looking for Bruno Mars.
Yes.
The first one is autoplay. And what that means is that if you listen to a song or you listen to a playlist or an album, once that album ends, it's going to play another song. It doesn't just stop unless you have it set to stop. But most people will have it continue to play, and it'll play a recommended song. And what labels can do is they can take a lower commission, so that incentivizes Spotify to play their music more, because that means that they have to pay out less to the artist. And Bruno Mars might be the single biggest offender of using that. So
not Sabrina Carpenter, not Taylor. I know that there was a lot of
Taylor's
they're big Payola people.
But Bruno, like, I was tracking this last year as well, because Bruno had a big lead because he had two of the top 3 global songs for a very long period of time. So he set the all-time record for listeners. But then as those 2 songs started becoming less popular, I was tracking to see when would it cross the weekend? When would the weekend take over? And it looked like it was imminent. And then the first of the month hit, and then all of a sudden Bruno's numbers shot up for like no reason. And his entire catalog shot up. It's not like he did the Super Bowl or a Grammy show. It just, first of the month, boom, all of his numbers shot up. and it bought him another month before the weekend took over. And I think that was just them turning on autoplay. So the autoplay does two things. One is it plays the song after you're done listening to whatever you're listening to. And the second one is that there's daily mix playlists that Spotify creates for you, and they can get preferential treatment on those as well. So like anybody that listens to pop music will suddenly get 3 Bruno songs in because Bruno is getting less commissions. So I think that's what's going on, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. It's like you would expect with the rolling window, and if you look at how many streams Bruno's single is getting, it's down to like 3 million globally. You wouldn't expect him to continue holding these numbers that he was getting when he was getting 8 million globally. So I think it's just more kind of a payola thing that's affecting the projections.
Now, my thing with this is it's not explainable through not like the standard what do you call it, decrease of natural decay of streams and listeners. But why would he want to do this? Why would the label want to do this? Do they care about, I know when I'm talking about Taylor Swift, she wants 4 million because it's a round number. She wants 3.5 pure to just beat Adele, who was 3.48. That's numbers that they're looking for. Does Bruno Mars or the label care about being #1 on Spotify for February? Is that an accolade that they want to put on their wall?
I think so. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I didn't think that this would happen, was because I thought that they would wait until the album dropped on the 27th. Because like, who gives a shit if he's not for 4 days in February? Like, nobody cares. But I don't know. I don't really have another way to explain it. Like, why would you go from 500,000, 800,000 listeners being lost a day for days on end, and then suddenly drop to 200, 300? It doesn't make sense outside of autoplay type stuff.
Yeah. And if they hadn't done the autoplay, would Bruno Mars still have won at the end of the month with the album on the 27th? Or would it have been only 1.5 days of tracking period, so maybe not?
So it'd be 1 day of tracking period, and he dropped the album at midnight Eastern, and tracking goes to 7 p.m. Eastern. People really overestimate how much of an impact that makes.
Okay.
If you look back at past albums, Sabrina Carpenter's album, she picked up about 1.4 million in the first day. Lady Gaga actually lost listeners. The Weeknd was about 1 million. So it's not this huge boon on the first day.
Yeah.
The exceptions are a Taylor Swift, a Playboi Carti, or a Justin Bieber. And Bieber and Carti, what they dropped surprise albums. So like, nobody was paying attention to those artists, and then suddenly everybody was paying attention to them. So that gives it a huge spike. So we're looking at like I think it was 2 million for Carti and 3 million for Bieber. But it totally makes sense, because they weren't really on anybody's radar, and then suddenly they were on everybody's radar.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift gets the biggest bump, but that's just because she gets the largest numbers. Like, everybody listens to Taylor Swift's new stuff when it drops. But outside of those scenarios where somebody hasn't really done any new music for a while, so nobody's paying attention, it's not that big of a jump. We're talking like a ceiling of 1.5 million.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So 93 cents now. So we missed the competitive strikes by a day, but last week was a good call regardless. You told us what to look out for, and it played out in a way that we could have maybe not expected, but it played out in a pretty good way. PMT, I'll bring you back in, because you do have a couple markets that you like, right? Whether it be AI or State of the Union. When is State of the Union? Next week?
State of the Union is on the 24th. We are officially 1 week out from State of the Union, and there's already over $1 million in volume on the main market. There's a ton of related markets as well, on like who will be mentioned. I'm trying to get some buzz around this one. They just added a new strike for who will attend the State of the Union. You want to guess which person they added? It was newly added today.
Barron Trump?
No, it's relevant to who we've been talking about this whole Judy Shelton.
It is? Oh, wow.
We gotta pump
Awesome.
this up.
8%.
I've,
8% for Judy
I've been
Shelton.
thinking of a way to get the news out there. I was like, should I just make a post saying like, wow, they've added a Judy Shelton strike to State of the Union. What does this mean? And then try to,
That's good. That is good.
That's what I
Okay,
want.
I like that.
Would I be unethical to do that if I don't imply that she's going to attend, but I just say it's very interesting. They added a Judy Shelton strike, and then I show like a phoenix or something.
Yeah, the Phoenix
And then
pin.
I load up a ton of no's.
Make an AI video of her entering the White House or something. Let's see, on one of those AI video makers. Not a lot of volume, but I mean, obviously, it just got built. 8% though. I mean,
Yeah, she was.
when was
added
the
more
last
than-
time? What was the photo of her behind Trump? How long ago was that taken? I think I saw something like
probably
that.
years. I think they
Okay.
just re-up like the same old images a ton of times. But
So does
but
she really have like no relation? Like, why did the QAnon pick her again? Is it like is there anything behind this?
So first off, she's an author,
good for
respected
her.
author, and she wants 0% inflation. She thinks that's what the Fed's target rate should be. And apparently there's some link between her and returning to a gold standard. I don't know if she actually says that or if that's just, but she wants zero inflation.
Okay.
I think the XRP narrative is that she wants to get rid of like fiat entirely somehow. I don't know. But and I think they want XRP to replace fiat. But anyways, you can now bet whether, you know, she's gonna attend or not. I mean, there's the who will attend State of the Union market. There's also a market for what countries Trump will mention, and there's a kind of funny one there between the mention and the what countries will Trump bring up, because there's Somalia in both. So sometimes Somalia trades at a different price between the regular mention market and the. But yeah, I'm really excited for State of the Union. Obviously, I hope there's a big push for it. Like, it's already at 1 million. Another interesting thing was there was actually some close press FUD on State of the Union because people were saying, if the shutdown stays in effect, what if Trump doesn't deliver a State of the Union, which apparently is possible. But thankfully, Trump did say on Air Force One yesterday that even if the government stays shut down, he would still do a State of the Union. Who knows how
Good for him. Thank you.
true that is. But yeah, he's but this is next week. The one other market I'll talk about, like, that's big, is the AI model market. You can either
Yes,
look at the
let's get that
monthly
up.
or the weekly. But this is like, I haven't been this
What's
excited.
the name? Which one is it?
Look up best AI this month. That's
Okay, we got it.
good starting
73%
one.
Claude, 74.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, it's okay. So I'm looking at the delayed stream. Sorry, so that's why I'm like, but
And Gaten, the ibuprofen. Are you ready? You have it ready?
Oh, I'm just checking out. I'm gonna do something else.
but Claude's the big favorite right now. Obviously,
Yes.
Opus 4.6 shocked the world. It's about like 25 elo points ahead of Gemini. But Gemini 3.1 Pro is dropping very soon. And I have no position in this market yet, but there's definitely a case to be made that Gemini 3.1 Pro will overtake Claude. And that's why it's fun that we have an actual fight again. It's been like a year of just Gemini. And now that Claude overtook it, AI markets are exciting again. You also have a new Grok model coming out. There's a new, I think there's a new GPT coming too, like 5.3 or something. But the main show right now is going to be between, will Gemini 3.1 overtake Claude this month? I probably lean towards, if it does release this month, I would say it does overtake Claude, but we'll see. Again, I don't have a position on it, so I'm obviously not very confident, but I'm just excited for there to be a mix-up. Also, Alibaba has a model that just got added today, a new Quen model. I mean, I don't think anyone expects it to do that well, but like, if all this hype around AI models is real, of like how much faster they're getting in the last month, like maybe all these new models start just taking number one.
Now Gemini's 23.25 bid ask for best AI, and on Poly 3.5 released by March 31st is at 27%. Do those have relations to each other, or is this not really related?
I would say they're not really related because the February market is related to Gemini 3.1. I
And
so which is
did that come out or not? I'm not understanding really.
it hasn't
Like,
officially come out. It's supposed to come
okay.
out like basically within days. Um,
Is there
but
a market? Is there a market anywhere for when it will launch? Like,
I don't
no.
think so because it's a pretty small like new Gemini model. It's not as hype. I'm
Understood.
surprised honestly that Gemini 3.5 is priced that likely to come out by end of March, but I guess we'll wait and see. But I would be surprised Gemini
Well, we'll get the
3.5 comes
Google
out this.
insiders soon. Don't worry. The insiders will tell us. I'm very
But I
excited.
mean, yeah, 3.1 is going to come. That's why this is priced where it is people think Gemini 3.1 Pro is going to overtake, which I think is pretty reasonable take to have. But if 3.1 doesn't, you'll see, obviously
And
Claude will
what
go back to like
days?
95.
How fast? How aggressive is the time decay on this? Like, is this going to be 25 cents on February 28th, or will we just see a linear decay on
I don't think we'll see any
expectations?
decay until 3.1 launches because I think
No, but sorry.
everybody's
So is 3.1 launching like a guaranteed thing? I don't really
yes, for this
understand.
month,
Okay.
it's as close as possible to a guaranteed thing. So I think
Okay.
people are pricing, 95% chance 3.1
Okay.
comes out this month.
So the argument here is that okay, Gemini 3.1 is just not gonna be good. I thought the argument here is Gemini might not launch and that's why it's at 25. But you're saying that it
Yeah,
will launch, but it might not be the best.
I'm very confident it will launch. Maybe people have
Okay.
different fair values of like, but I'm pretty confident.
And you think despite that 25 cents is fair or is a side to look at.
I think it's a side to look at. If I were going to
Cool.
play this market, I would play probably Gemini, yes. But again, I don't have a
Nice.
position yet.
Cool.
And I'm more of a news trader.
Yes,
What
sports, lots of college ball, lots of football. We need XFL or some esports lines. Got to start hedging that. I
Yeah,
have
no, League of Legends would be super fun. I love League. So
is there betting? Oh, League does there is betting on that, right? Uh,
yeah,
Esports, yeah, okay. I know.
but
Is that
Worlds is
T1? Is
over.
that is that the T1 team? Yeah, love T1 and Gen G. Okay, I know my stuff. I know my stuff. All
Yeah.
right. I think we've just gone over the hour mark, so I think we're good here. Thank you guys for being patient and coming in at the later time. Um, we'll probably be on again soon because I think talking about markets is fun and something that Twitter's lacking. But well, not ZSC DAO. They love to talk about markets, but the real guys don't. So thank you guys for joining with me, and thanks to the guys in the chat and all the viewers. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your week, and happy trading.
See ya.
Take care.